This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're in Chelsea, Kensington, somewhere in London. Brilliant lunch we've had here with Frank Warren, Bob Arum and Tyson Fury. Yeah, good day, Frank.
That's a tough question.
What are you referring to there?
That's another tough question.
Okay, I think you're talking about some of Eddie Hearn's comments recently. Obviously, we did an interview with him, Coogan did an interview with him after the purse bid. The first one he's done on IFL, and he said that when I speak to yourself, Bob or Tyson, we ask soft questions. So I went to him a few days later and said, anything that I want, or you want asked rather, to Frank, to Bob or Tyson, I'll do so. But then he said he doesn't watch interviews and he's not bothered anyway. So I'm guessing you're referring to that, Frank.
You mean he doesn't watch those interviews that he refers to? He constantly refers to. Look, who gives a monkeys? You know, at the end of the day, how can I put it? Did he say he had any questions to ask? I think you asked him, didn't you? So I was told, is there any questions you need to ask me?
I did say to him in the interview, anything you want asked, and obviously if he said it on camera, I'd have to go and then ask you, and I'd happily do that. Anytime I've got to pull you up on something, I'll do anyways. But yeah, he did say that, that he wants questions asked of you, and we only grill him. But then, no, there wasn't any questions, if I'm being honest. There wasn't anything for me to put to you. But I've got some questions anyway. So.
Well, I'm sure you have. I've got some questions, but that don't stop me having to ask some questions. I mean, he gets a soft ride from Coogan every time. I mean, Coogan, I think there's no secret in the trade, is it? They go back a long time and they're big buddies. But irrespective of that, you should, you know, I've got Coogan. I want to ask him, how many subscribers in the UK does Dazn have? Those are questions.
We can ask him that.
You should ask him that next time. You should ask him, you know, what does he think about now that the deal he's telling everybody that was going to happen between BT and Dazn didn't happen? Did anybody ask him that question? And how does he feel now all these fights are going on an app?
Yeah, Coogan did ask him about that report, you know, where it said BT and Discovery were doing a joint venture and Dazn won't be taking over BT. And he said that was above his board. That wasn't a boxing thing. That's above station.
He was telling everybody. I bet he told you they were taking over, did he?
He didn't, to be fair. He didn't want to comment.
Well, he's told a few other people. But irrespective of that, it's not happened. So why don't you just worry about his business and let us worry about ours? And like I've said to you a long time, the world goes round. No one can tell me about... you know, how tough it is for Dazn and whatever. We run BoxNation. I mean, it's his 11th year now it's in. We did that, walked away years ago, and it's hard. It's a tough gig to work through. And, you know, you have to finance it. The money doesn't come within. It comes from outside sources and families and so forth. And he's been very lucky that he's had Salem Blavinovic, who's been at this stage, has put up fortunes. I mean, I think when he launched Dazn in the States, he said that they had $1 billion to take over boxing. All the fighters were going to sign with him. I mean, I don't know how many subscribers do they have in America? I have no idea. They haven't made any stars. I mean, he's just got to keep hoping that Salem Blavinovic is going to keep funding him. I mean, how much per buck that he's put in or per pound he's put in has he got in value of building, big name fighters?
Is that something that Dazn would release, the amount of subscribers in the US or in the UK?
Ask them. Their accounts are late. They're supposed to file their accounts. I mean, it's a matter of fact that they have a record that as a start-up business, has the biggest losses in the history of any British company. Now, I don't know what they're going to make now, but that's been the commitment, and thankfully it's been a great commitment from Len Blavinovic that he's put money into boxing. That's brilliant. But I think he could have spent his money more wisely than he has. But anyway, who cares? At the end of the day now, the dust has settled. BT are doing their deal with Discovery, and we move on from there. But they're questions you should ask him, because he always refers, never me, but he's always referring to accounts and things like that.
Companies' houses, I mean.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it? That's what he keeps referring to. Bye-bye.
Yeah, look, let's start off then by that news. I haven't spoke to you since that news broke that Dazn, who were very strongly reported to take over BT, that deal has fallen through. We've seen a statement from Dazn about that officially. BT are in exclusive talks with Discovery to do a joint venture, also with Eurosport. So what does that entail for your business, specifically, Frank?
You asked me a question a long while ago, and I told you what the position is that Queensberry and myself have a exclusive contract agreement with BT, so nobody else could ever show any boxing. Even if Dazn had taken over BT, they couldn't have shown any other boxing than ours. And that's how it is. So, look, it's all panned out. How, it is where it is. As I always say, and I bore everybody. The world goes round its cycle. So we're in a different cycle at the moment, and now you've got to see what people are made of, what they can do. I mean, when we were, going back to that BoxNation days, we had a big issue with Sky back then, where they were only prepared to pay £800,000 in total for a year's boxing. So that's why we walked away and went off and done our own thing. So they're in a similar situation now, but we went and done that ourselves, and you've got to see, what appetite, as I say, Slim Blabling has to keep supporting matchroom boxing.
I know you might not know the answer to this question, but does that joint venture with Discovery and Eurosport increase your budget potentially for boxing?
I don't know yet. It's all early days, but the fact of the matter is they obviously they look on the partnership, or both parties look on the partnership as an advantage for both businesses, both companies. So that's got to be to the benefit of all sport, including boxing. Boxing, it's no secret. Their number one sport on BT is football, and their number two sport is boxing. They deliver the ratings. So, it's good times, and I'm sure over the next few months it's all going to pan out, and we'll see where we are. But as far as we're concerned, Queensberry, we'll continue doing what we always do, which is building, promoting and building fights and building fighters and bringing youngsters through and getting them into good positions, because that's the backbone. At the end of the day, if you haven't got fighters, then no one really cares. I mean, people don't buy tickets to watch me or watch Eddie Hearn. They buy tickets to watch fighters.
Last question on this one. When I was asking you constantly about Dazn and BT and those reports, did you secretly know what was going on, or did you have no knowledge of it?
Oh, I knew what was going on behind the scenes, but I didn't know what the ultimate decision was going to be. But whatever it was going to be, and you deal with it. And we've dealt with it, and now they've got to deal with it. So it is what it is.
Okay, moving on. At this lunch today, we learnt that Tyson Fury has signed his contract for the Dillian Whyte fight. 23rd of April is the date. We have no venue at the moment, but you also did declare at this lunch that Dillian Whyte hasn't signed his part of the contract. So what's going on there, Frank?
Well, he hasn't. That's a fact. He's got until the 19th of February to sign under the terms of the purse bid, under the WBC's regulations. So he's got up until then. So he's done nothing wrong at the moment. We would have preferred him to sign it. There were some discussions going on between the parties regarding changing the terms of the purse bid, but we've now that's not between the WBC, between Dillian's team and ours, but the bottom line is we're not changing anything. It's the purse bid, so it's an 80-20 split, with the winner getting that $4 million that's held in escrow with the WBC, which you were told we'll see what happens. Will that ever go in? Well, it's gone in. We'll see, is that fight going to go on? We don't trust Tyson Fury. Well, he's here. He was here today. He came back from holidays
To launch a new drink.
to launch his new drink. I've been drinking. This is why I feel a bit lively. Ferocity, Tyson Fury, ferocity. So I'll be doing some. I might take some of that.
I hope you're getting a cut, Frank.
Getting half cut. Anyway, the fight's on. All this nonsense about Tyson as well, a licence. I mean, what planet are we on here? Why does anyone pay any attention to the bullshit that's said? It's like some kid not getting his sweets or something, or you're taking his toy off of him. Come on, please. We know what we're doing. We know where we are. The fight's on. All we're waiting for is one person at the moment is holding everything up. and that's Dillian. As soon as he signs it, we get on with it. If he doesn't sign it, if he doesn't sign on the 19th, we move on to the next one.
Deontay Wilder's number 2 in a WBC. So.
Well, whatever it is, but Tyson will fight on the 23rd.
Okay. Frank, let me just pick up on a comment that you said there. You said that they're trying to change the financials, but not through the WBC, privately with yourself. So are there talks about potentially Dillian getting anything more out of this deal, or what's going on?
I've got to be honest with you, I've got a problem with him getting some upside at the end of it all. You know, we've laid a lot of money out, and I've got no problem with getting an upside, but the bottom line of it, again, is we're not obliged to do that. We want to make the world go round, but if he don't show up, if he signs and he doesn't cooperate, then that's his choice. I mean, let's get it right. We've got the most colourful fighter, let alone heavyweight, in the world on this card. He's not fought here for 4 years. St George's Day, England, and all the stuff that goes with it. You know, it's going to be a big show.
So do you think that's why he's been silent? He hasn't signed the contract because his representatives, his lawyers, are still trying to get every last penny out of this deal, which is obviously their job?
You said it, it's their job, but the fact of the matter is, if you want to get more money, then somebody else should have put a bigger bid in.
Where are we with Dillian's lawyers? When's the last point of contact you've had with them?
I think, you know, my office is speaking to them on a regular basis, but, you know, we're now at a stage where it's the WBC approved contracts is there. I understand they're happy with the form of the WBC contracts. It's just sign it and get on with it. I was hoping we could have done this yesterday, but anyway, we haven't, but it's got to be done by the 19th, so it's not far away now.
19th of February, okay. Have you been given reassurance, though, from their team, whoever that is, that he will put pen to paper eventually?
No.
No reassurance? No. Is that not a worry at the moment?
No, he's got till the 19th. I'm not worried about anything. What worry have we got? Tyson's the champion. He either fights him or he don't and fights somebody else. Tyson Fury's the draw.
Let me ask you a question. This was something that he didn't directly say this to me, Eddie, but this is something that he's inferred in interviews. Is Tyson Fury getting 80% of that $41 million?
If he tells me how many subscribers he's got for Dazn, I'll tell you.
Okay. Is that a deal? If he reveals that, you reveal this?
Look, you interviewed Tyson earlier. Did you ask him if he was happy about his purse and his money he's getting?
You know what? His answer actually was that, of course he's getting 80%. That is what he said to me. Otherwise he wouldn't take it.
Well, there you go. So you got the answer from the horse's mouth or the champion's mouth. So you know exactly where we are with that. Do you know what? I mean, you know, why he keeps saying all this crap? I don't know. Why don't he just worry about a fight he actually has control over, which is AJ's rematch with Usyk? Why does he keep talking about Tyson fighting Usyk? Why don't, you know, Anthony Joshua lost his title. He needs to re-establish himself. And the only way he can do that is to beat Usyk. So get it on. And then the winners can fight each other. Whoever wins, they can get it on between them. What's the problem? Why does he keep trying to sidestep that situation? I mean, I was told that it allegedly only done 600,000 buys on Sky or the box of the last fight. I don't know if that's the problem, maybe not. Who knows? But that's for them to sort out. But you know what? Get on with your own business. Stop worrying about the fight that we put in the best bid for, the highest bid, record bid, so that we can get on with our business and stop keep bleating on about it.
He has maintained his position that Fury did not want to fight Alexander Usyk next. Now, I've asked you about his comments, Igor Klimas' comments. I've put that to you, but he still believes that it was the case, that the step-aside deal was ruined by your client, Tyson Fury, and that he scuppered everything because he didn't want to face Alexander Usyk next. So do you have a comment on this?
Tyson Fury goes to Germany and fights Klitschko in his own backyard. Goes to America and has 3 fights with Deontay Wilder in his own backyard. Do me a favour. What planet is anyone on even to suggest this crap? It's beyond ridiculous. And you know what? It's dead after today, so I'm not even going to address this anymore. The reason it didn't happen is because Joshua asked for another $5 million, and Tyson said, screw him. What am I? He ain't getting any extra money off of me. Let him go and have his fight. And that's why, if you remember, Tyson put that thing out saying, you know, you've cost you all this money and whatever. That's your fault. You're not getting it. So, but it's all totally irrelevant. Who cares about it? You know, on one hand you got a fighter in Dillian White who's saying I've been waiting 1,000 days or 1,200 days or 10,000 days. I don't know how long it is to have this fight. So he's willing to step aside. This one's willing. Get on with the fight. So let Tyson fight Dillian. Let him get his fight on if he's got the balls to do it against Usyk, and then let the winners fight each other. It's a no-brainer.
Let me ask you this. Once that step-aside thing was happening, was there a conversation with Tyson saying, listen, Usyk's not going to go till May, but can we wait till May? Should we wait till May to make that undisputed fight?
I was told it was June.
Was there a conversation to say, June, let's wait till to do that fight?
He's had one fight in 2 years. And look, before all this even come up, back early December, interview with you, I said Tyson is going to be fighting in February. Do you remember? Before any of this stuff even come up.
True. February, you said, and then it got moved to March 26th for Helenius or Ruiz.
Do you remember? That's what we were talking about. So I'm not reinventing history. You know, for all the guys who want to, you know, slag us off and do all this, go and look at these interviews over the past few months. It's nothing. We never changed our position. He wanted a fight. Tyson said to me, if you remember, he done an interview himself. I've told my promoters, put that fight out or I'm going to pack it in, or words to that effect. That's what he said. So that's what we've worked on.
Okay, last one on this Fury White thing. I asked Eddie Hearn how many buys he thinks this does on BT Sport box office. His answer was 700 to 800k. You've maintained that you believe this can do over 1 million pay-per-view buys in the UK, and you still believe that? Even if Dylan doesn't participate in the promotion?
It's Tyson's first fight over here, prime time in 4 years. Everybody's seen what he's done. He's exciting. He's a winner. I don't particularly care what he says, and you know, we will be announcing the broadcast details, providing Dillian signs. We'll announce them, and I think it'll do far more than 1 million buys. And you know what? One thing's for sure, it'll do, according to what we're told, he only done 600,000 for Usyk and Joshua, allegedly. Then it'll do, on his own estimations, it'll do better than that.
Okay, Frank, let's go back to last weekend where on Sky we saw Chris Eubank Jr. beat Liam Williams. What did you make, firstly, of Liam Williams' performance?
He just didn't get into it, did he? You know, the first 3 rounds, the fight was just what it was. It's surprising. He went down to a couple of jabs, didn't he? And he just never got back into it. And he tried. He kept working throughout the fight. He took the fight to him, but he was behind on the scorecards, well behind. I was quite disappointed, to be quite honest, with Chris Eubanks, because all that nonsense about he held him up. He didn't hold him up. He just held him up, in my opinion. He couldn't finish him off.
What did you make of his tweet to Matthew Macklin saying his scorecards were a disgrace?
Well, they weren't. I mean, I think Matthew was right. I'll tell you something. I'd love to have seen him and Matthew in their prime fighting each other. I know where I had my money on. You know, look, Matthew's there. He works for Sky. He's an independent guy, and he said what he felt, and that's it. But at the end of the day, cut for all the bullshit. You know, Chris, if you really want a proper fight, why don't you fight Zach Parker? If you've got the balls to step up and do that, or you're going to do like you always do, avoid people like you avoided the rematch with Billy Joe Saunders forever, because that's what you do. Next generation. You're 32 years of age, son. Your dad had retired at that age and had 24 world title fights, and you're the next generation. God knows what generation I am then. I'm Generation X, or whatever it is.
We will speak about Zach Parker in due course, but yeah, your old mate got on the phone to me, Billy Joe Saunders, the day after the fight and said, give me £5 million, Sky, and I'll take the fight. What do you think about a rematch between Billy Joe and Eubank Jr.?
If they have a rematch, they have a rematch. Listen, I've got to tell you something. Zach Parker, there ain't no one in this country who can beat him.
That's a big statement.
It's a big statement. We put our money where our mouths is. No British fighter, no British super middleweight will beat him. And if you want to earn some decent money, come and see us and we'll put it on.
Also, a welterweight called Conor Benn put his name out there in the hat for himself and Chris Eubank Jr. Do you think that's realistic given the weight differences?
You know, obviously the history of the family names and so forth, and I get that, but it's a bit of a weight disparity there, isn't there? And who knows? Conor Benn, I mean, he wants another big fight. There's a couple of big fights there for him to have, you know, with old David, our man, or fight Esmond. You know, there's two good fights for him. It's great, good. It's really lively. It's a lively division. They all call each other out, but we should get the fights on that matter and let the best fight the best.
Well, Frank, I will ask you about that. I know there's been a lot of talk about Conor Benn and his fights potentially with Adrian Broner, Maurice Hooker, and then your guy David Avanesian. Now, we know, well, it's been strongly reported that Conor Benn's going to fight Chris Van Heerden, and also we've seen David Avanesian's opponent, who I will have to ask about, a Finnish guy who's rated very low in BoxRec. So probably for the fans, it's disappointing what we're getting with Conor and David. Can you just talk me through that situation?
Yeah, fight each other.
What next?
Do it next. No problem with us. Let's do it next. Let's do it. I agree with you. Let's do it. Let's do that fight.
Do you agree that I know you've made this match and you're putting David on that show, but for both Conor and David, it's not what the fans wanted, their next fights?
We know it's not what I want. I want them two to fight. I agree with the fans. Let them two fight each other. Why shouldn't they fight? Listen, on Monday morning, Matchroom and us, I've said this a million times. First of all, we said we'll pay for him. So you don't want to do that. And he says he wants no, we don't want to see no one not getting paid. I said we'll pay for David to do the fight. 2 envelopes, put them on the table. Whoever gets it, it fights on the app or it fights on BT.
Okay. I spoke to Charlie Sims, his manager, and at the moment he says David Avanesian will pass that. He brings nothing to the table.
Look, he's right, but for me, it's a good fight. I'm a promoter. That's a fight that fans will buy into.
But his argument was that he signed with BT and Frank Warren, and then they're saying we'll pay the purse to go on the Dazn show. Why don't you deliver him and fight? That's what his argument was. Charlie Sims.
He's got to fight.
With David?
He's got to fight, hasn't he? The WBC are going to put in the next couple of weeks. Are going to put out what their position is with the welterweight division. But while we're waiting for that, that's a fight. And do you know what it'll do? It brings eyeballs. And if eyeballs are on David fighting Conor Benn, and he beats Conor Benn, because I fancy him to beat him, it makes him even a bigger name, which makes his earning capacity even better. So it's great business sense and logical. It's logical for me, but not for anyone else.
Just to go back to Eubank Williams, a last question on this. It was reported from Sky Sports that it was their highest viewing fight since Joshua and Cornish in 2018 and Khan Vargas in 2017. Over 1 million views Sky Sports done on that. So your reaction to that?
That's what I'm saying. It's a fight fans want to see. They're obviously not missing Matchroom.
Okay, moving on. Where are we with Zach Parker and Demetrius Andrade in terms of that purse bid situation?
Purse bid's been put back for 10 days.
Is a deal reaching?
No, we've not had any contact. We've rang, but there's been no negotiation or contact. We've reached out. But you know what? If it's not done in 10 days, we'll just go to the purse bid. I'm not going to mess around with it. Get on with it.
How aggressive are you going to go for that purse bid?
You know, we're very aggressive. Look, I drink Furiosity. So we're going to be really aggressive with that purse bid. Do you know, I had 4 cans. I had 4 cans of this before the 41. It's brilliant. 4 cans before we put the $41 million bid in. Furiosity, the drink that wins purse bids.
Frank, can you give me any update on your March 19th show? I think as we are speaking, your guy Matt's releasing something. Can we give us a March 19th update?
Interview him. He knows more than I do. I'm just the young
guys. March 19th. This is going to go out after 5 o'clock. So.
Shout it out.
Avanesian against Metz and Shiraz against Smith.
There you go.
Hamza Shiraz v Jeff Smith. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Good fight, that.
It's a good fight. You happy with that one? There you go.
Okay. So March 19th rolls on. What happened with Callum Johnson, Frank?
He's injured again. We're absolutely listen, if it weren't for bad luck, he wouldn't have any. But what can you do? So he was going to headline it, so unfortunately he's not up for it, not well enough to fight.
Okay. So we know March 11th you've got a show at your call. March 19th you've got David Avanesian back in the ring headlining. we're moving to April. We know April 23rd is Tyson Fury's date. Anything else in April that Queensbury can inform the fans about?
We will be announcing another couple of dates next week.
Okay. Might that involve Daniel Dubois?
Look, Daniel Dubois is the mandatory to Troy Bryant, and I've got Bob's laughing because he knows what I'm going for, and I'm negotiating at the moment with Dom King. So it's all good fun. Look, we're trying to get it over the line. If we can't get it over the line by the end of next week, again, that'll be a purse bid situation. But he's in a good position. This heavyweight scene in the UK is unbelievable with these guys, with Joe, with Daniel, and obviously with Tyson. We're in we've got some really good fights over the next year or so to put on. So. And Jared, yeah, he's going to fight on the card. He's on the card.
Brilliant. Jared Dazn will be live on BT in the UK. That's great to hear. A couple of more things, Frank. We saw Kalasalnan and Wasserman win the bids for Linus Adofia and Denzel Bentley. So what happened there? Did you guys try and go and secure that fight for Denzel?
We put our bid in and they outbid us. They must have been drinking Furiosity.
Call's a big fan of Furiosity.
No, they won the bid, so we get it on. Denzel and him, it's a good fight.
Lastly, I spoke to Bob about this and the light heavyweight situation with Anthony Yard. They look like they're going to make that unification between Arthur Beterbiev and Joe Smith Jr. So what does Anthony Yard do in the interim, Frank?
He'll fight. I'm going to give him a fight. I'm not going to let him sit on his backside. And, come autumn, after those two get there, the winner comes through, we're hoping to bring him over here and we'll put a big show on with the winner against Anthony Yard.
As much as we are excited about the heavyweights, when you think about Anthony Yard's last performance and you think about Bob's guys in Arthur and Joe Smith Jr., they're guaranteed wars. They are fantastic guys.
Two magnificent fights, and I just want to. I mean, it's a shame because of obviously Ramadan. Bob can't get it on earlier, but it'll get on, and then we get the winner, and it's going to be a brilliant fight. I mean, Anthony is a good fighter, and he showed that in his last fight. I mean, he absolutely went about his business. How I know he can go about it, and he looks $1 million.
Was there any more conversation between yourselves and Matchroom about that offer that they put in for Joshua Buatsi, since Anthony Yard won't secure a fight with these two?
He has secured a fight. He's the mandatory. The winner's got to fight him. That's what it is. What planet are we on that he's going to give that up? They want to come. Look, we made Lyndon Arthur against Anthony, who was number one, yeah?
Yeah.
They got Callum Smith number one. So why don't they do the same thing with Buatsi? I mean, down the line we can get them all together.
Okay, well listen, Frank, what?
I'm not bailing him out over Buatsi. Go and do what he's got to do for his man. That's his job, not my job.
Frank Warren, thank you very much for your time here in Chelsea. We look forward to a press conference for Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte soon.
We want the next one at Arsenal.
And I'm sure we'll catch up soon. It's been a great day with yourself, Bob and Tyson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and no more tough questions.